We're just a few hours away from WWE Raw, and it looks like this could be a big episode. We're going to talk about a return plus a big surprise, and we're going to kick things off with some backstage heat. Now, I don't know how the hell this has actually become a conversation on social media, but Top Dollar essentially began trending on Twitter, and it all really stemmed from Brian Alvarez and Dave Meltzer having a conversation based on Hit Row's booking, and more specifically, Top Dollar getting pinned after like 5 seconds being hit with a bro kick from Sheamus on Friday Night SmackDown. Now, it was really interesting because a lot of people are saying that there's some backstage heat. And I don't know if like people are just kind of assuming this based on booking, but I think I need to remind people how television works, because pro wrestling is not real, right? We know this. It is scripted entertainment. And yes, there could always be a chance that backstage guys have heat. That I'm not throwing that out there, but I think what I'm noticing a lot more in recent months, and it's really starting to ramp up right now, is that people are saying, oh, well, they're getting buried, or based on their booking, they're getting heat. And they're kind of assuming this without actually knowing if that's the situation. Top Dollar and Hit Row are heels. Michael Cole is a babyface commentator. He is going to take digs at Top Dollar. He is going to take digs at the heels. And heel commentators are going to talk a lot of shit to the guys who are baby faces, because that's what they do. And so I see a lot of people, they're talking about Top Dollar having backstage heat. And while anything is possible, I think that type of negativity is basically trying to draw a foregone conclusion based on the idea that Brian Alvarez and Meltzer are saying that he's being buried. Meltzer says, well, Michael Cole and the storyline is always burying Top Dollar. Yeah, but he makes fun of his raps. He makes fun of his raps. That's what Michael Cole should be doing. And then Meltzer goes on to say, yeah, well, exactly. I mean, the whole thing is, like, he is not very popular with some people. And when I watched the way they did that finish, it's like, man, whatever you said, you got some enemies on the creative team, because this was like the burial of all burials. And for some reason in the last few months, it continues to ramp up on social media because people listen to this stuff coming from Brian Alvarez and Meltzer. And why? Why? Wrestling is no different than a Hollywood action film, okay? Everybody has a role. People got to lose. People got to win. They're getting paid. They're on TV. They're given an opportunity. I think there is potential with Hit Row. Within time, we'll see how it develops. But no, do I think Hit Row right now should be the tag team champions? Should I believe that they should be at the top of the card? No, I think there's other teams right now where creatively booking and stuff like that, you know, like we're seeing other teams rise up. No, I don't think they should be at the very top. That doesn't mean that they're buried or they have heat. I think people are getting really confused with personal opinions and actual fact. And then they use their opinions and skew it to generate some sort of fact that doesn't actually exist. And so, just to be very clear, other reports have come out today to debunk the idea that Top Dollar and Hit Row have backstage heat. So people are taking their personal opinion, and people look at that opinion and take it as, these guys have heat, these guys are being buried, and I think that is very unacceptable. Is Tommaso Ciampa coming back to WWE Raw tonight? Well, it sounds like it could be happening. According to PW Insider Elite, they have confirmed that Tommaso Ciampa is also scheduled to be at tonight's WWE Raw taping. Now, keep in mind, when Triple H took over WWE, I talked about DIY coming back once Johnny Gargano returned to the company. And obviously, there have been tons of reports now in recent months that that could very well potentially be a plan, especially for SummerSlam DIY versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. It makes a lot of sense. Tonight could very well be the start of that. Tonight could very well be the beginning of WWE putting DIY together on WWE Raw. Two guys that will do absolutely great things together in the tag team division. I look at these guys as a very, very big success story for Triple H if he so chooses to have Ciampa and Gargano defeat Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. I think there's a lot of potential in that feud. I think there's a lot of potential in WWE reshaping the tag team division, but don't get it twisted. I love the idea of this match. I love the idea of Ciampa and Gargano being together. I truly do. but WWE has to look at other tag teams as well. You really want to build up this tag team division. You really want to give them some big matchups. Once you bring DIY back together, that's great, but what's next? And that's the question, what's next? And the reason why I say what's next is because it's incredibly important that people don't forget this. Once you start focusing on DIY, do you have another few teams that you could start building programs with that may not be involved in a tag team championship feud? Because if all you're doing is building successful feuds for title belts, that's great. But people will not be interested in all of the other people on TV who aren't in anything meaningful. So just kind of throwing that out there. It's really important that if WWE wants to move forward with Ciampa and Gargano, I think that's great, and I think they should definitely be pushed. But keep in mind, you got Indus, sure. You have the Creed brothers in NXT. You can always call them up. But you have all these different tag teams, right? You have a lot of guys with potential. You have the Viking Raiders. You do have the Usos. You have the New Day when they're ready. Are you going to put them on TV and do something meaningful with them if it doesn't include them chasing the belt? Street Profits are another great tag team, right? And I say this because I think it's just a really important piece that WWE has to do to make sure that their tag team division thrives. Because while you're building up DIY, if they ever do take the belts off Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, I think at some point you do want to get to that point where eventually your tag team division already has the next guys who are ready to go up for that spot. And it's going to be really interesting to see what WWE does here, but I think Ciampa coming back will be great. It will be interesting to see if WWE offers any sort of logical explanation with The Miz, because obviously Ciampa was with The Miz before he got injured, or is WWE going to drop that altogether? I'm really hoping WWE, for the sake of continuity and storyline and storytelling purposes, I would like to see them address Ciampa leaving Miz in some capacity. Whether that happens tonight or they tease it or they go down the line with that, I would really appreciate that. And guys, our final story of today's video, WWE could be planning a very big surprise tonight. This is really exciting because WWE obviously has a very, very big matchup tonight. We're going to see an open challenge tonight. And it's going to be Seth Rollins going up against somebody. We don't know who it is. Obviously, a lot of us are speculating that it's Johnny Gargano because Raw is in Cleveland. Could be a very interesting idea I just would love to throw out there. But let's talk about this, right? Braun Breaker, according to PW Insider Elite, is currently in Cleveland, Ohio, suggesting that he could very well be part of tonight's show. It hasn't exactly been confirmed, but there are rumors that WWE could have Braun Breaker come in and make an appearance. My speculation that I personally see happening is Seth Rollins defeats Ciampa. Braun Breaker comes out, spears Seth Rollins. Obviously, they have NXT Gold Rush tomorrow. It makes a lot of sense for him to come out there and do that. You're selling the feud for tomorrow. That would be a very big surprise moment. Obviously, Seth Rollins is great at selling. And then, we just spoke about Ciampa. Maybe Braun Breaker is just releasing some carnage on Johnny Gargano. Maybe Ciampa gets involved. Keep in mind, there is a little bit of a history there between Ciampa and Braun Breaker from NXT. It would be a nice little callback. But Ciampa making the save could be the thing that actually brings the tag team back together. So obviously, that's all going to be very interesting, especially considering that the Way is also back together. And WWE kind of teased this before. So let's see what happens. I think this could be a very good episode, but we'll find out.